Yo fam, what's happening? Guys, people here. On this video, I'm going to attempt to make a serving tray out of this here piece, and I'm gonna try to make it look like a beach. So stay with me. It's gonna be fun. If I fail, oh well, you came with me live. We're gonna see what happens. If anybody wants to try doing epoxy projects or anything like that, I'm gonna show you everything you need to use and what you need to have on deck. So yeah, right now I flip the script and I'm going to show you what will be used in the project in case anybody else might happen to enjoy trying some of this for themselves. Alright guys. So for doing epoxy projects, if you actually want to, here's what I'm going to be using. Stone coat countertops, epoxy, half resin, half hardener. You know, some mixing buckets with, you know, all the labels, different types of brushes. I'm either going to use acrylic paints or spray paints as my base layer. These are tattoo inks that I will actually add to the epoxy when I'm mixing it. Isotope alcohol. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain later. A spray bottle right there. You're going to need a torch, and what the torch is for is when you mix the epoxy, it creates bubbles. So if the bubbles rise while it's curing, you'll end up with holes in your epoxy. Your orbital sander, I just got a 220 grit. The piece you're going to be working on. Oh shit. Mixing sticks. A stirring stick. I just added holes because it helps stir the epoxy a little better. Something to pull out, you know, any impurities that happen to land in your resin. Going to be adding some stone coat countertop diamond dust to the foam effects of the whitewater. You're going to need some gloves and a level field because the epoxy is self-leveling. So you need to make sure whatever you're dealing with is level. That's what I've been using. I just add more triangles when I need to level it out a certain way. Also, I'm going to be adding some beach sand here that I got from Galveston. Not the shitty part of Galveston, but a real nice secluded spot. So, no dirty crap in it. But yeah, every time I go to the beach, I snag shells. I snag some sand there. So, what I'm thinking is I'm going to do like maybe a bay scene where it comes in like that, and this would be the beach, and that would be the water. So, stay with me, guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you how I do it, in case, like I said, if anybody else wants to give it a shot. Alright guys, sorry for the non-stability here. I'm holding the phone. Alright guys, catch you in a minute. Alright, so the first thing you're gonna want to do is sand your working area. Also, when sanding, keep in mind you want to bevel the edges on both sides so the resin can pour over and drip on the bottom, drip off. And you want a nice clean pour over so that way your edges are all epoxy. So, let's get to it. Dead nabbit. And we are back. We got some nice beveled edges all the way around, both top and bottom, because you want the epoxy to come around and swing down to the bottom. Now the next step would be your base coats. I guess I'm going to use a mix of spray paint and acrylic paint. Again, see, this blue isn't that deep, so it's not going to work too well. But what it will do is add an undertone, you know what I mean? So I'm going to blue probably about half of it, and I'm just going to fog a tiny bit of green in it here and there, and just see what happens. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. Alright guys, we don't need to go too crazy here, because when I add the tattoo ink pigments to the epoxy and make different colors and different streaks, it'll all tie together. So right now we're just gonna you know, add a little bit. Make sure you always hit the edges. You always want to make sure you spray your edges. Yeah, see, that's way too bright. You're going to need a deeper blue for the deep ocean part. So, you notice how this this particle board is already tan, right? That's somewhat the color I'm going to be going for the beach over here. So that actually works in my favor. You always want to coat twice, just really quick. I mean, when we do the epoxy, it's going to do the work for us rather than this, you know, the paint. But the undertone always helps. Oh, ha, check that out. Quick fix. Still in the blue cap. Oh well, shit happens. So I'm just going to fog lightly and try to get some of that mossy color in some of these parts. Yeah, I think that's cool. Alright, so now let me sit back and think for a few minutes on which way I want to move forward. We'll be back. Alright, so we're going to give the overview shot. You can't really see the greens. Well, maybe. Here's what I'm thinking. Since we're going to be adding foam to the waves, let's go ahead and add a little bit of white undertone. That already looks cool, and it ain't looking nothing like it's gonna look. I think I'm gonna leave it just as is. Guarantee you later, when we get to the actual epoxy process, that's really gonna help some stuff turn out. So we'll get to that a bit later. I'm going to look at my acrylic paints right now and see about some deeper blues for back here. So we'll be right back. Alright. What I'm going to attempt here, is it backwards? Probably. It's a metallic blue. I have it right in there. And just a tiny dab of black mixed. I mean a real small dab. Just right on the tip of the brush. That ain't much at all. Let's see what it does. Might try some more. And you know what? Hold on. Oh crap. Yeah, we'll just try that. A little bit more. Oh shit. Didn't mean to do that. Ha! So what I did was squirt all over the place. Alright, so I'm going to paint this on and we'll be back and see what it looks like. Alright, so yeah, I'm happy with what happened. That's going to give it a lot of movement later on. What I'm going to do is fog it again with the blue one more time, really light. Tiny bit of green, and then fog the little whites again. And I'll show you that in a second. So folks, this is what we're left with right now. Just some light fogging. Yeah, the back is definitely a little darker. That worked out. But now this paint job right now is merely the foundation. Once we start playing with epoxy and mixing colors, we'll really see this come to life. So I might just end this video and we'll do part 2 with the epoxy. Alright guys? I think we'll do that. So, guys, pupils signing off. Deuces.